spiritual workers, light workers, energy workers at this time, there's a lot that needs to be rethought, reimagined, reworked. I mean, even destroyed if you want to look at it that way, so that we can build anew on a clean foundation, right? There's a lot of the old that has been co-opted, corrupted, and that foundation is no longer solid. Okay, so I have a story today. And this will be posted a little bit in the future. There might be a PS at the end, but for right now, I'm going to record what's been happening here at the farmhouse. And it started 3 days ago. It was evening. We were in the master bedroom, and I looked up, and there was a spot on the wall. And the spot was above the window, and it wasn't large. It was maybe that big. It was a little narrow. And then there was another little spot kind of next to it, even smaller. And I pointed up. It was a dark spot. It's a kind of a light sagey green color in the bedroom. And I asked my husband, "What is that up there?" Now, obviously, I'm the one with vision that is not the best. And I really like things bright to be able to see. And most of the people around me don't like that at all. They like darkened rooms, which kind of drives me crazy. I mean, I don't like overhead lighting and severe lighting, not at all. But I do like a well-lit room. So I asked my husband, and he was right there near the window. And he looked up and he said, "I don't know, it looks like a smudge of some kind." And I said, "A smudge? Kind of what?" And he went and got a broom. And even turning on one or two lights that are actually in that room, it didn't really help much to illuminate the room. And he took the broom and he put it up and kind of rubbed it on the wall, and it seemed to, I don't know, some of the smudge seemed to dissipate a little bit. And I didn't think too much more about it until the next day. And the next day, in the light of day, there was more light there, and what we could see was there was actually insects around this smudge. And when I climbed up on the table, it was right underneath the window to be able to look more closely, the smudge was no smudge at all. It was a hole. It was a hole in the wall, and there were little winged creatures there. And yep, sure enough, those of you might already know what I'm getting ready to say. They were termites. I mean, years and years ago, like 30 years ago, when we lived in New York, we had to deal with carpenter ants once. So I didn't think they looked like carpenter ants. But, I figured I knew what I was looking at. One of the two, probably termites. And sure enough, that's what they were. And we were actually setting the room up at the time for my dad. He was getting ready to have his weekly massage in that room. It's one of the larger spaces in the room, and it can be in the house, and it can be quiet for the lady who comes to give massages. And she's very health aware, and so we were talking about it for a second. I said, "Well, of course I'll have to deal with this, but I don't know, maybe I'll go get some essential oil spray." So I had some essential oil spray insect repellent, natural organic insect repellent that had citronella and lavender, that kind of stuff. And I showed her the bottle and the ingredients. I said, "What would you think if I kind of just sprayed around there, and you can finish the massage and we'll see what's going?" And she said, "Yeah, that's fine. So just go ahead." So I sprayed. And it seemed to be effective there for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. And the next thing that happened was, I think they got mad or something. They certainly got stirred up. And what we had then in the master bedroom was a swarm. Yes, indeed, we had a swarm of a lot of these little winged creatures. And it is spring, and this is the time of year that they do that. So we removed Dad, we removed the massage table, we covered up the holes with duct tape, we closed the door, and then went to town being grown-ups to deal with it. We got somebody over the next day, a professional, to inspect what was going on, and he looked around, and we don't know for sure yet because, of course, the wall hasn't been taken apart to be repaired yet. But from the outside and from the inspection by the termite professional, he said he didn't think it looked extensive. We got it in time. We're putting in some mitigation practices here in a couple of days. They are as safe as can be for humans and pets, safer even than they have been in previous years. But, we can't let these suckers eat our house. So we're going to do what we can do, and that's all going to happen here in a few days. So I really started thinking about this, what happened, right? I mean, who wants this? Nobody, of course. And what do you think about when you think about termites, right? You think of destruction. You think of invasion. You think of damage, right? And I looked it up, and I started to do some research. What if you see termites? What's the animal totem of termites mean? What does it mean metaphysically, energetically, when you are dealing with a termite? And I was very pleasantly surprised. I did some pretty extensive research, and I took some notes. And I'm just going to read some passages and some summaries of my own to tell you why I think this happened to us. And it fits, of course, perfectly. As I'm recording this, it is mid-April, and we're getting ready to do the immersion class here coming up in less than 2 weeks. But there's been some other things on my mind, and I've been very busy contacting other people and wanting to reconnect and feeling a real drive and desire to rebuild or build anew, the new things we have to build in this world as all of the other things start crumbling at their foundations, right? You can already see some of the symbolism. So here is one of the first things that I found on the internet. Termites are usually unwelcome guests in our homes. But did you know that they have a spiritual meaning? Well, of course they do. I'm of a mind that everything has a spiritual meaning. Absolutely everything. Because everything is energy. Everything's connected to energy with what's going on with you, your family, your situation, the world, all of that. Everything is connected. Everything means something. I really believe that. Sometimes the meanings are obvious and you can tell right away what they are. And sometimes, it takes a little digging. And sometimes there's some accepted meanings that we've saved as humans throughout time. Did you know that termites have been associated with healing and family connections? In folklore and symbolism, the tiny creatures stand for energy, productivity, resilience, and perseverance. All of that fits. All of that fits. The resilience and perseverance, especially. All traits that we can each draw on to work towards personal growth. Well, absolutely. The Native Americans especially believed that termites were sacred. What? The sacred termite? But indeed, they were sacred, and they served as symbols of endurance and hard work. That speaks also to what's going on in this household. Reminder of persistence, resilience, the ability to overcome obstacles through teamwork. And see, that relates back to the reconnection. I have always been the person that wants to build and create community, and not the kind of community that is still so often built, which is, around a singular guru, around a singular idea, around a singular mission or goal or business. QuantumHealers.com is a guru-free place, and that is my creation, absolutely. But it wasn't created for me to be sitting up here as some sort of pinnacle and, be all, end all, know all of the things. I've never wanted that. I've wanted to create a horizontal community for a very long time. And I'm hoping to collect other speakers, way showers, and leaders, because there's so many of them out there that have their own platforms. But I keep thinking we need to gather together and work, teamwork, collaboration a little bit more. So I have been reaching out to others in that way. Termites are associated with destruction and decay, but they can represent strength and perseverance in Eastern symbolism. So they work tirelessly together to build impressive structures, much like the impressive achievements that can be accomplished through determination and teamwork. So that really fits, right? It really, really fits. Okay, so now some of the Eastern culture ideas. The ability to endure and overcome obstacles is admired and respected in the Eastern culture. To build and create something meaningful. Actually, I'll probably put it in this video. In Australia, they have termites that build something called cathedrals. Termite mounds that are cathedrals. They almost look like standing stones. Here, I'll show you one soon. The termite is a small insect that can be seen everywhere in the world. However, many people are unaware of the spiritual significance. Okay, yeah, inner strength, hard work, and perseverance is the main one. So what makes termites such meaningful creatures? Well, there's a lot about them, right? So they're social. They live in an extremely complex kind of society, much like ants or bees. Colonies with divisions of labor, sophisticated social organization. Interesting. But their reliance on the community and each other really stands out. Their industriousness. Termites are constantly at work, breaking down and recycling dead wood. There's some symbolism there, isn't there? Their dedication is admirable. Their metamorphosis, and this one's interesting to read. Termites go through a complete metamorphosis during their life cycle. We're often comparing ourselves to caterpillars and butterflies, right, with ascension and growth and all of that. Well, termites have a metamorphosis too. They shed their exoskeletons as they pass from one growth stage to the next, and this process of transformation is unique. How do termites communicate? You might ask. Well, they use chemical pheromones to communicate, coordinate, and regulate their colonies. And it's a complex communication network. And finally, their dual nature. While termites destroy wood through their chewing, they also recycle and reuse it to enrich the soil, and their destruction leads to renewal. That's a pretty key sentence for me right there. We're as spiritual workers, light workers, energy workers at this time, there's a lot that needs to be rethought, reimagined, reworked. Even destroyed if you want to look at it that way, so that we can build anew on a clean foundation, right? There's a lot of the old that has been co-opted, corrupted, and that foundation is no longer solid, secure, dependable, or even valid for this new world we're stepping into. She talks about the social interactions, group strength, nesting behavior, building, and distraction. Interestingly enough, this person talks a lot about termites being in furniture. I guess they could be in furniture, but for me, I've always thought of them as a home invader, building invader. They possess large group strength. They live in a group. They move from one place to another as a whole group after completely demolishing their first home and move on to the next. They possess swarm intelligence. Yeah, they showed us that yesterday. Termites are the source of inspiration in architecture. This is interesting. They build their nests in such a manner that they can safeguard themselves and precede their demolishing activities. They normally build their nest with material which is fine particles of wood, or the particles from a wall where they perform their destruction. So they really kind of rebuild from the ground up, which I find very, very interesting. So this act of destruction, is sort of seen as a negativity, but then they create anew. Termites, who knew? It fits perfectly, absolutely perfectly. I'm ready to build something new in this world. If that's you too, maybe you could think about joining us at quantumhealers.com, or if you have your own community, I'm looking to connect community leaders maybe for an event of some kind. I don't know. There's a lot of those online conferences that seem somewhat used up in energy, or sort of tired, a tired, older way of doing things. I don't exactly even know. It's hard to get together in real life, although is that we all know that that is magical, wonderful, and amazing. I simply can't make that happen with my current life of caring for my dad every day. But that hasn't stopped me from working, connecting, and continuing on building community and assisting others in this work, and assisting us to help humanity awaken, expand, and move into the new world. Have you had a termite invasion? Maybe you thought it was an awful thing. How did it work out for you? Did it happen at a time when you were rebuilding? When you were thinking about starting new construction? Making new connections with family? Working as a group? Assisting in a community? How did it work out for you? I'd love to hear your stories. All right, well, I'll get back to you after I find out more about what they've actually done to our house. I don't think it was that bad, but I did learn about a sign that you can look for termites in your home if you have a basement or a place where you can get underneath where the floor foundation is. If you see a tiny little, it almost looks like a pencil of mud in a row, kind of looks like a mud dauber's nest, or in a row, that's called a termite tunnel. Yes, it is. And we had a tiny one back in the basement underneath the floor joist, and I first looked at it, it looked like a shadow, but if you put a flashlight on it, you could see that it's not. We only had one of those, and we're going to escort the termites out of the house so that we can keep our home, but we will appreciate their message, their support in building new things. All right, till next time. This is Candace at quantumhealers.com. Join us if you are of service to others in any way. Reiki, quantum healer, hypnotherapist, counselor, life coach. We'd love to have you. Thanks.